Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast. Exclusively on the Huda Media Network.
Okay.
That sounded weird. I'm sorry about that.
Really weird.
I had one of my settings off. Sounded a little odd.
I'm sitting here looking, going, "What did I do? What did I do?"
I'm trying all this new, like these newfangled thingies, and I just had one little box unchecked. That's going to be the name of today's podcast too. But even though we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever, one little box unchecked. One little box unchecked.
Yep. That's all right. No, I heard it come up, and I'm going, "Oh,
yeah. Oh no, it's all me. It is all 100% me.
All right. So we don't have John Carroll today. He apparently has to do lawyer stuff.
Yeah.
So he's got to go pay the bills.
Do lawyer thingies.
Right? But that's okay. We still have other things going on and other things that we can talk about today and kind of take a look at I'm trying to make sure I have so many tabs open right now and I keep losing the one that has our video on, right? So if I want to see you, or like, because I kind of want to see what's going on in your studio because you're at the office. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't find it up here. I can't see it.
Now when I have 15 tabs open, I'm trying to toggle.
15 would be a light day, Pat.
Yeah, I know.
That would be a light day. But let's see what we've got going on in the world. Some things that are happening. One of the things in particular, and we just had the guys on yesterday, and I just wanted to talk about this just right off the bat.
I'm going to clean up my stuff. I got my little white cleanies out here. A company just came over, and I haven't had time to clean the house yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is one of those Instagram pictures where they didn't take a look in the background before they took the picture.
Yep.
And the toilet seat's up.
You guys just saw a big old turd in my toilet. Sorry. I don't know. Normally I try to clean up my stuff over there, but it's like, whatever. I'm reframing everything. I'm turning the energy around from the unchecked box and we're just moving forward. It's fine.
It looks fine, honestly, now. That looks okay. and really, it wasn't out of place before.
Right. Nobody notices that stuff.
No, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. They won't know. They won't know.
They won't know. They won't know.
Speaking of Instagram videos, TikTok, etc., did you happen to see there was a story that popped up and it had to do with Instagram making some changes and going back to the way they were? Apparently, the Kardashians got pissed off about some changes that they made. They said it was too much like TikTok.
Yeah, I don't really like look at it that much, so I didn't really understand what they were talking about. So I kind of want a little explanation as to what they were talking about.
That I don't understand it either. That's what I'm like. But apparently it affected them, whatever it was. They said they're rolling back their changes after Kardashians slammed them for being like TikTok, and that made CNBC News. That it's on their website.
Wow.
We are looking hard for stories, folks. We are digging deep.
I get it when people have their favorite app or whatever, and then something changes and it's frustrating at first, but then you adapt, you get used to it. And then if it goes back, then you get mad because you're used to the way it changed. So I don't know.
Right. You get used to it. Eventually you figure it out. A little update. We had talked about the spat that was going on between JoJo and Candace Cameron, JoJo Siwa. And apparently now Candace's daughter has jumped in, Natasha, telling JoJo to grow up.
I love that. I love that. I heard it was like the tweet or whatever on Instagram, whatever she posted, it was deleted. I wonder why she deleted it.
I don't know. Well, that was the one, her original, where she said that. Was that the one where she said that Candace was the rudest celebrity she'd ever met?
Well, I mean, her daughter, like her daughter's response got deleted too. Yeah. Last night it wasn't there. So I don't know if it was, I don't know.
It's something that's going back and forth for some strange reason. And the daughter is 23. She's about the same age as JoJo, actually, right? I think
probably
JoJo's 19 or 20. Anyway, someone saying no to taking a photo with you is not a rough experience. She wrote back to her. She says, don't be so sensitive. Have no backbone. Our generation has no backbone. Wow. Bigger issues in the world than this.
Right, and to bring that up it was a long time ago. It's like, and what? Why
Yeah.
would you just bring it up now all of a sudden?
JoJo, yeah, she said, I was 11. That's what JoJo wrote. I was 11 and I was a big fan. I wanted to take a picture with her and it wasn't a good time for her. That's what she and then
Okay.
so anyway, so then she took a little swipe and then that's where we are now. I say all of them need to just stop.
Right. Hold on to stuff much? Jeez.
Just let it go. Let it go. Also on TikTok, there's a new challenge. And the police department here in Omaha put something out about it. So the new trend, the new challenge, there are posts about Kias and Hyundais. Hyundai.
I don't know. Hyundai.
Particularly Kias, though, made in 2011 or later, 2015 and newer for the Hyundais, whatever. Getting stolen. That's the trend on TikTok and other social media right now. So there's a challenge of the Kia boys stealing the cars, and they film themselves driving recklessly, kind of like weaving in and out of traffic.
So the trend is to steal stuff?
You
That's
steal
the
the
trend.
car. That's the trend right
So
now. That's the challenge.
Stupid.
That's the challenge. They said thefts of Kia and Hyundai, whatever, were reported in the first 7 months of 2022, showed an 80% increase compared to 2020 and 2021. 80% increase. So it's for real.
Oh my gosh.
And it's happening locally. So just be aware if you have one of those.
The last two TikTok trends that I have actually enjoyed was the tortilla slap tortilla challenge. That was hilarious. And I mean, it was funny for a while. The funnier one was the Sprite one where people burped. That was my favorite. To watch those, that one girl that burped and it sounded like a demon came out of her stomach. I can watch that 15 times and I laugh. I laugh so hard every single time. It is the funniest thing.
So there's that. Okay. And interesting. Okay, going back, speaking of TikTok, and that brought up the Kardashians. Jillian just wrote, she said, has anyone ever realized if OJ hadn't needed a lawyer, no one would care about the Kardashians?
Oh, I mean, yeah, probably. I don't know.
That's kind of a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kim, well, it's hard to say. No, you're probably right. Because Kim still would have probably been Paris's assistant.
Yeah.
But she probably never would have broken through. You know what I mean? Because nobody would have cared.
Yeah.
Because the scandal wasn't that it was Kim Kardashian. The scandal was that it was Robert Kardashian's daughter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
That was the connection. That's what made it such a headline, was that his daughter did that. And yeah, she was connected to Paris Hilton, but that even wouldn't have been enough to get the show rolling like it did.
Yeah, no one would have cared. Right. That's a good point.
Really good point. And interesting you brought that up too, Jillian. Thank you very much for that. Because we were just talking. There is a movie that has resurfaced. It was out a couple years ago and it's back on Prime. At least I don't know if it ever went away, but let's just put it this way. It showed up in my suggested for you movies on Amazon Prime, and it's The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. And it's from Nicole Brown's point of view, like the last days of her life, the things that she was doing, the people she was with.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that before. Like that hasn't been made before. That's a brilliant angle.
It is. It's been out for a couple of years, and I'd never seen it before. And it stars Taryn Manning. And Taryn Manning, you might remember, was on Orange is the New Black, and she was Pennsatucky on Orange is the New Black. Love that show. Absolutely love that show. And she stars in this one. So her and I think Mina, what's the other? Mina Savari.
Mina Savari, yep.
Yep. So that's on my watch list now. So I'm going to be checking that out this weekend. But kind of interesting how it all ties together.
And like all of a sudden with that show and OJ coming back up, it just kind of all flaring back up. And the Hollywood Raw guys had Kato Kalin on this past week on Wednesday.
2004, 2014. So we're coming up on the 30th anniversary in a couple years. 30th anniversary of that happening.
That is unreal. Jeez.
So they had Kato Kalin on last week?
Yeah, they had a kind of an interesting little local tie here too. And I don't know how many people remember this person, but he used to be the sportscaster at Fox 42 a long time ago. His name's Tom Zenner.
Yes.
And he worked with me with Rocket. That's how I met Tom. And Tom went on to go to big, huge markets, work in sports, Phoenix, Chicago, whatever. And now he's still doing media stuff. He's not a sports guy anymore. He does independent stuff like correspondent work. But he lives in Los Angeles, and he has been friends with Cato and just knows a lot of media people. And now him and Cato started a podcast called 1 Degree of Scandalous. And he's like, well, who's been attached to more scandal ever? The biggest scandal story ever.
Biggest scandal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When they talk about somebody being like he's OJ adjacent, he's like just outside of the spotlight. It's like the spotlight's on OJ, Nicole Brown, Kardashians, all of this, and then Cato's right there, right, just outside of the spotlight, but you can see him.
Right. And he's such a character. And if you anybody watched Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, he was on that. And
genuinely nice. It's
right.
I think I really do.
And just the energy, his energy is unbelievable. His energy. And so they had him on, they talked about a lot of things. One of the things was that this is something that I had never heard before. Dax had never heard it anywhere, that Cato still has the key to the guest house where he stayed at OJ's, and he wants to sell it to benefit a charity. And the
house doesn't exist.
Right. House
the
is
guest
gone.
house. It's gone.
Yep.
But he still has the key.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they
do you think did he intentionally keep it because he knew it was valuable, or was it one of those things that it's hard to throw away keys, number one, but if that's the key, I mean, it's like, I still have keys to file drawers from a cabinet in Hastings.
Okay, I'm going to get my keys out here. Look at this. I lose things all the time. This little red thing, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you'll see this little red foot deal.
Yeah.
I got that when I went to a father-son walk thing at Bennett's preschool a long time ago. It's been on my keys ever since.
20 years.
I've lost wallets. I've lost glasses. I've lost everything. And this little red thing, now I'm going to jinx it. I'm going to lose it. But anyway, it is hard to throw away keys. And he said that he held on to it, not specifically to sell it or whatever. This is and I'll link to the Hollywood Raw episode 2 in our description, but he tried to give it to Larry King before he passed away. Like when he was on with Larry King a number of years ago, he tried to give it to him, and Larry's like, I don't want any part of it. And he's like, okay. So he just said he didn't want it. I guess. Yeah. Didn't want any part of it. And so Cato put it in a safety deposit box at a bank, and he was just holding on to it, and just realized, he said he's like, he might sell replicas, which I think is a genius idea.
Why not?
But then auction it off for a charity at some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he's just seems so almost naive, childlike.
Yeah. Right.
Even, in that time, he was probably in his 20s when that happened.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of like bumming around. He was couch surfing basically, and he ended up somehow in OJ's guest house. Right.
It's funny. And listen to the Hollywood Raw episode, because he talks about how he gets, I'm sure he's told the story a million times.
Yeah.
But he even said that. He goes, I have told these stories a million times, but it's part of my life. It's what I am. I'm not, it just is what it is. So I'll answer the questions, whatever people want to know.
Okay. So a totally random connection here, but thinking about him and how that changed the entire trajectory of his life. He is Cato Kalin, forever tied to OJ Simpson. Monica Lewinsky, living that same life, right? Mm-hmm. Her entire life was hijacked. His entire life was hijacked because of what OJ did, as was hers. It wasn't either one of their, I don't think it was definitely not his fault. And I personally, I don't think it was her fault, because she was like so young. Right. But I'm just like, that just is crazy, because you think what would have been. Where you wonder, like, if that hadn't happened, would Cato be where he is now? Like, would he be bigger? Would he be not? Would he be just, hey, I get out of acting and like an insurance agent? Like, who knows? Again, sliding doors. And you're going to hear that reference. That reference comes up again on our show not too long. But I have to cough. Hold on. Oh my God. Uh-oh, here we go. So yeah, but it's a really good episode. And the fact that Cato has told these stories many times, and goes into other aspects of the story that I had never heard before. Right. And I kind of feel like I knew a lot about everything that had happened. And they talk about their podcast, 1 Degree of Scandalous, and they have I can't remember the lead detective's name on there, that from the OJ case. Everybody knows his name, but I can't remember it. But I don't lose a freaking red foot for 46 years, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, they have him on this week. And they're going to he said it's extremely interesting to talk about all the cases that he worked, and that the OJ Simpson case to date had the most detectives working it
of any case in history for LA County or for the whole state of California.
That's because a lot of things got jacked up.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
That's why they ended up in that situation.
There was go ahead. Sorry.
Because they were it ended up in that situation because of who he was and assumptions that were made. And then they ended up with an investigation looking for evidence instead of evidence causing an investigation. They were you know what I mean? It's like they were trying to connect dots that they knew were connected, but they tainted evidence that proved it, and they couldn't go back and use it. So they had to find another way to do it. That's just crazy.
I know. And like you had said, the house is gone. And I remember right after it happened, I was in California with a friend of mine. And it was still when everything was still there and nothing had been removed. So it was really eerie, but now it's all gone. And Dax asked Cato about ever going back to the area. I've been back by the house again, and it was really interesting. Here we go.
Well, I know they obviously demolished the old house that was standing where OJ lived, but have you been in the area? Have you driven down that street in the last, I don't know, ever?
Well, how about if I told you that on May 21st, I got married, and the gentleman that we used his house was David Zucker, my friend who did Airplane, Naked Gun, Scary Movies, Top Secret. So we got married at David's house, which is really close to the old OJ house.
How was it driving down the street, though? Because I'm assuming
Honestly,
there's so
that's a
many
great
memories connected to this street, this house, your whole life.
Goosebumps. And I'm not kidding you. I just driving and crossing over Bundy, getting near Rockingham. Honestly, it was a feeling comes over because it's part of my life, but there's a feeling that just kind of comes over me of gloom. And, but there's joy because of what I did this May 21st. And so I look at it now as past, and I could only make things really fantastic now. So I think that's where it's at. I don't look at that. Honestly, you guys, I'm really about the light. I hate the dark. So I always try to be happy.
It was so great.
Isn't that that's got to be hard for him because everybody he meets, the minute he says his name, they're going to want to ask a question, and it does take him to a dark place, and God bless him for recognizing that and trying to stay in the positive instead of staying in that ugly place, to be a part of or so close to a crime like that. That's just, I can't even imagine. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
You know, what's funny is you made me think, okay, two things. First off, I have to acknowledge Angie because she just posted on in the comments, just said, I just searched for my phone on my watch while listening to this on my phone. I said that so many times.
My gosh, so many times. Been on the phone, walking around, talking to Beth. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Where is my phone?
Okay, back to his key. Funny story. And you showing the little foot thing that you have on your keychain. So my first vehicle was a pickup that we had for a number of years, probably at least 10 years or more. I think when I got the truck, I think it was a 74 GMC 454 was the pickup. And just a straight pickup, nothing fancy about it. My dad still has it. And it still works. I think it's got like 100,000 miles on it. It doesn't have a lot. It got driven to horse shows, and I drove it for a few years in high school. But anyway, he drives it every once in a while, takes it, go do things. And it's got a locking gas cap on it, which nowadays you need to have anymore because people are starting to do that crap again. But anyway, he lost the keychain with the key, the ignition key and the door key. Because you have both.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's not power, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's got a door key and it's got the ignition key. It has literal roll-up windows, like the handle to roll them up, right? The whole 9 yards. But anyway, he lost the key and he's just devastated. It was somewhere between the shop and the house, which is a pasture, and he's afraid that it fell out of his pocket. He hasn't been able to find it so far. And just like a shot in the dark, he says to me, "Do you think you have a spare?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? Dad, I haven't driven that truck in 20 years, maybe more. And the last time I drove it was at the house, and I thought the keys just stayed in it all the time. I didn't know they came out. I thought they were stuck,
rusted in there,
right? And so I said, well, let me, I'm like, what the hell? Let me just check. And I've got some random keys that I've kept, and there are car keys from cars I had in the 80s and 90s. There are door keys from a house in Hastings. There are, like I said, file cabinet keys from a job in Lincoln. There's all these keys that are on keychains, and for some reason I've kept them all for no good reason. That's why I was wondering, like, why the hell did he keep that house key? He's never going to use it again. Why do I have these keys? I don't even know where those vehicles are.
Right.
So I took all the keys out there, and there's a few that I don't know what they are. Third key I started the truck.
That's crazy. What?
It was the ignition key. It was a GM key. And I had a spare key for the truck. And then I was able to pop the gas cap off because he lost the key for the gas cap too. But we got it jimmied around, and we were able to finally pop it off so we can get to the gas tank.
Yeah, what are the odds of that?
Crazy.
Yeah,
it was
that is crazy
though. But I was like, there's no way this is going to work. But you know, what's the harm? Let's give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. You know, it's just like, you got to be kidding me. There's no way I have a, yep, I do.
No way.
I have a key. So crazy stuff. Real quick too. We were heading that direction, and we got sidetracked with other stories. But really thankful for Zach and Robert for popping in from Big Red Fan Club with Fan Pass U. If you get a chance to get online, do it. BigRedFanClub.com. This is your way to get closer to the players. That whole NIL thing, as far as name, image, and likeness, and it helps the players and the whole 9 yards. And we were so glad to have Zach and Robert on. Those are two of the founders. Who was the third one? I can't remember his name now.
Elliot Brown.
There you go. So those three guys, all college guys, putting this together. It's really a cool deal. So if you get a chance, check it out for as little as $33 a month. And they have the club meet and greets. They have the events, the signings, the watch parties, the tailgates, all that good stuff. Q&As with the players every month.
Super awesome.
Just
Genius idea.
It is. And it's just, you know, if you can get in it now. This weekend, they're really, really making a push to drive that membership. And like I said, I think there's 24 players that are signed up right now, and more coming that are going to be a part of it. So thanks to those guys for
very cool.
In. Yes, enjoyed that. Okay, so in other news, real quick here, Ben Affleck's life is all of a sudden completely different now that he's married to J-Lo. They're back together. Life is good. They got married. Now his Batman is going to return for Aquaman 2.
Batman is returning for Aquaman 2.
That's what it says. Ben Affleck is reprising his role as Batman in the next the Aquaman sequel, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. This was just announced by Jason Momoa, and there's a picture of these two hugging on each other. I mean,
okay. Speaking of Jason Momoa, in the episode with Hollywood Rock, Kato said they asked him, they do this rapid fire round, ask him all these quick questions. The best looking male celebrity he's ever seen in person, and he said Jason Momoa.
I can understand that.
Well, I mean, I know you wouldn't argue it.
I can see that. Honestly, this picture of Jason, Ben looks better than he's looked in a long time. I mean, he looks really good in this picture, and it's just the two of them, like.
Well, you can't look like a turd when you're married to J-Lo. I mean,
she straightened that up right away.
Right, like you got to keep your poop in a group. You're gonna
no more wrinkled shirts.
No,
and wife beaters and
no, not anymore. You're done. Sorry, buddy.
Had to get that straightened out right away. And then another headline that popped up. It looks like Shakira is in trouble. Apparently she is in court, and if she's convicted, and this is for tax fraud, she could get 8 years in prison. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The prosecutor, this is in Spain where this is happening. And apparently they could sentence her up to 8 years and 2 months in prison if she's convicted as expected. Failing to pay the Spanish government about what would be about $15 million in taxes from 2012 to 2014.
That's a lot.
I had no idea this was even going on. It's like all of a sudden all we get is, she may get convicted, guys, and this could be bad.
Yeah, I had not heard that before.
Hadn't seen anything on it. What other stories do we have here that were
her hips don't lie, but her accountant apparently does.
Apparently her accountant does.
Yeah.
Or
somebody.
Somebody, whatever, her TurboTax didn't work right.
Right, yeah. So it's about taxes and money and stuff like that real quick. I heard an analyst this morning talking about this big $1 billion whatever lottery that is going tonight.
Oh yeah.
That he's not an accountant, but he recommends for
If you win.
because they interviewed 5 or 6 different people that in the last 10 years have won and blown the money. In the first 5 years, gone. Like one guy created a show called like Wrestlelicious or whatever, and like blew all of his money, and obviously it was a drawing hump. Nothing happened, so lost all the money. And he goes, don't take the payout. He goes, don't take the lump sum. He goes, take every year because you'll evolve in the way you spend the money, and you always will have money coming in. So if you change your habits or you grow up or you mature, whatever it is, he goes, you're not going to blow it. It's almost like a safety net for you. And I never would have thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I would have wanted it all now and not, if I die, I die. I don't get the money. So I don't know. It was interesting. Very interesting take.
So can you leave that to family members if you
know.
do the 20-year annuity?
I don't know.
I don't know if you can leave it to somebody. I'm sure that's been asked 1,000 times. I have no idea, but just something to keep in mind, folks, if you win.
Hey, Angie, if you can find your phone, Google that.
Please. Oh my God. And then another show for you to keep an eye out. I think this is on Netflix, or is it Prime? It's Prime, not Netflix, Prime. It's called Paper Girls, and some are calling it like Stranger Things.
Okay.
It's set in the 80s, and it's an all-female cast. But then there's another article out there that says, but this is no Stranger Things, whatever. It's not a duplicate. It's not, blah, blah, whatever. So I don't know really what to expect, but it looks really good because it's a bunch of 12-year-old girls. And they look like they're sassy, and it looks like it could be kind of a fun little show, kind of like Stranger Things. I don't know. Could be fun. So, and Angie said, first off, serious question. Can they leave it? She says, I think you do an LLC.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
That is a good
and then
idea.
the second thing she said was zip it, Pat.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my God. All right. So before we get wrapped up here, I was just going to throw out real quick, Centris Federal Credit Union, as you know, our sponsor and our partner for the year. And just wanted to throw this out because we're only a week out from this event. The Nebraska Prostate Cancer Alliance Car Show, which is presented by Centris. It's coming up on August 7th. It's Sunday, and it will be at their headquarters, 132nd and Pacific. And not only do they do a tremendous job with the car show, and it's been going on for a number of years, but they haven't had it. I don't believe they've had it since 2019 because of COVID, right? And so part of the deal when you go to this car show is they do free PSA tests for men over 40. This is all about prostate cancer. This is all about discovering irregularities, and they want to do what they can. So from 10 to 2 on that day, they'll be doing those free tests, just to give you an idea of how, how helpful this has been. From 2019, last time they did it, they had 193 tests provided, which is fantastic. And they'd love to exceed that this year, but they had 29 of them with elevated scores. So 15% of the scores were elevated. So they that they discovered for people so they could go get that taken care of.
That's great. That's really cool.
So it's an easy way. It's a free test, and it's a car show.
That's
and
awesome.
Like it's going to be another super nice weekend. Probably not as nice as this weekend because Lord knows this week has been ridiculously below average for temperatures. I mean, it's just like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not hot. Next week is going to be 100 degrees every day.
So let's soak it in now while we can.
Exactly. So anyway, let's see. What's the other thing? Oh, and Nikki just said, am I the only one that's never watched Stranger Things? Might be.
Yeah. I watched the first season, and that's I haven't watched it after that. But
that's what I did too. I watched the first season. I think I got started on the second, and then I somehow got out of the rhythm. And now they're season 4?
I don't even know.
I think 4 or 5. I want to get back into it because I know they brought in some really great actors. Really strong characters that they've thrown in there as well, just to keep things rolling, and it's still just as strong as it was before. The people that love it, and I would love to get back into it. Same with Westworld, though. Westworld, and I haven't watched this season that's on now, but I think this season 4 or 5, I can't remember, but it started getting weird because it crossed back over into the real world out of Westworld, which was the amusement park, and I liked it the way it was, and I'm kind of like I'm losing.
And we all know you're not a fan of the real world. So
I'm not. I wanted it to stay in the amusement park. I wanted it to stay there because I liked it. I like that whole setup. I didn't want them to start. It feels like Lost. That's where I feel right now. I feel like I'm in one of the final seasons of Lost, and I'm mad because I'm trying to stay interested. And
your PTSD.
Yeah. So, Laura, Nope, haven't seen Stranger Things. So Angie, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And neither is Nikki. So there are a few of us.
Yeah.
Just the first season. All right. So that's it. We did
so-
all right without John.
Yeah, we did good. We did fine. So I don't know what this is going to be
But
like.
I missed him.
I know. I don't know what this is going to be like leaving this episode with the music because of coming in.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe my settings are right. I don't know. So if you don't hear any music and it's just us standing here awkwardly, just know I'm hearing it in my headphones.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thanks, Centrus. And we want to thank you guys for listening, watching, whatever. And you can download it wherever you get your podcasts. If you are listening, I can hear it. Can you guys hear it? Oh, sweet. That's fantastic. I don't know. Who knows? I hear it. It's a really good intro.
You sure? It's just in your head.
We'll see.